Movie musicals aren't always great, but a precious few are actually perfect. These are the 6 that had critics across the board singing their praises. The 1952 musical comedy Singin' in the Rain isn't just a perfect movie musical, but a perfect movie, period. Co-directed by star Gene Kelly and the legendary director Stanley Donen, Singin' in the Rain takes place in 1920s Hollywood. The age of the silent film appears to be ending, and talkies are on the rise, much to the chagrin of the film's fictional movie stars. Kelly leads the pack as Don Lockwood, a Hollywood heartthrob who makes blockbuster silent films with his on-screen partner and rumored paramour, Lena Lamont. But what their fans don't know is that the two absolutely despise one another. With talking pictures becoming the norm in the industry, Don and Lena try to make the switch in their film The Dueling Cavalier, but sound issues and Lena's squawking voice threaten to derail the entire endeavor.
What's wrong with the way I talk? What's the big idea? Am I dumb or something?
Luckily, Don's best friend Cosmo Brown has a brilliant idea. What if Lena's voice is dubbed over by aspiring actress Kathy Selden, who meets Don in a chance encounter?
Lady, keep driving. They're after me. Everything's all right. Just keep going.
Everything about Singin' in the Rain is brilliant, from classic songs to the incredible dance sequences, setting the standard for all movie musicals. Judy Garland is basically the queen of movie musicals, which is probably why Meet Me in St. Louis remains so highly regarded. Directed by Vincent Minnelli, the movie spends a year from 1903 to 1904 with the Smith family, who live in St. Louis and are preparing for the World's Fair, which takes place in the spring of 1904. Garland shines as Esther Smith, the second eldest daughter of Alonzo and Anna. Esther is in love with the Smith family's neighbor, John Truitt, but unfortunately, Truitt ends up in conflict with her family after she's told that John attacked her younger sister, Tootie, an allegation that turns out to be false. Alongside Esther's romantic troubles, she and her sisters are grappling with the fact that they'll be moving to New York for their father's job, and Rose is head over heels in love with the handsome bachelor Warren Sheffield. Everything works out for the Smiths in the end, and the journey itself is completely delightful. Just try watching the trolley song and not getting it stuck in your head. Plus, you might not know that the song Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas came from this film.
I love you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Set in Paris in the 1880s, Jean Renoir's 1955 film French Cancan centers around a fictional nightclub in the French capital called Le Paravent Chinois, owned by Henri Zizi Danglars. Henri's mistress, Lola de Castro, is the club's main attraction, but when Henri discovers a young, beautiful Cancan dancer named Nini, he's enamored with her. He sells Le Paravent Chinois and then buys La Reine Blanche, the Montmartre dance hall where he first saw Nini perform, and tears it down, intending to rebuild a grand hall dedicated to Cancan. Romantic entanglements ensue as Henri and a troupe of dancers prepare to open the new hall, and honestly, every moment of it is delightful. It's a fun, fabulous, high-octane romp that transports you to Paris in the late 1800s, no matter where you are in the world. If Bing Crosby's involved, you know a movie musical is going to be good. Released in 1942, Mark Sandrich's Holiday Inn brought Irving Berlin on board to write the movie's songs, which include the holiday classic White Christmas. At the beginning of the movie, Jim Hardy is planning to propose to his partner in life and performance, Lila, only for her to reveal that she's in love with the womanizing Ted Hanover. As a result, Jim moves out of New York City, abandons performing entirely to live on a farm in Connecticut, and eventually ends up in a mental institution. 1 year after his heartbreak, Jim stages a comeback in New York and meets saleswoman and aspiring performer Linda Mason, and before long, the two are involved, complicating the group dynamic as Ted and Lila re-enter Jim's life.
Mr. Hanover!
Wait a minute, I gotta go.
Holiday Inn occasionally tackles some heavy subject matter, but despite that, it's still a delightful little love story. You can't talk about great movie musicals without mentioning two of the genre's most iconic figures, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. The duo appeared in 10 movie musicals together, but their most critically acclaimed collaboration is still their 1935 film Top Hat, which features original music by Irving Berlin. The film stars Astaire as an American tap dancer named Jerry Travers, who heads to London to perform in a show for Horace Hardwick, a somewhat inept producer. While he's working on his routine, he meets Dale Tremont. She's staying directly underneath his hotel room and is understandably furious about the noise he's making. Jerry immediately falls for Dale and chases her around town before the two decamp to Venice.
I know you'll think this a little unconventional of me, but I just couldn't wait to see you.
Throughout it all, there's a case of mistaken identity that causes some very amusing issues between the two. Top Hat is a charming, silly romp starring two of the best dancers Hollywood's ever seen. If you missed this Astaire Rogers film, you'll want to check it out as soon as possible. Only one classic Disney animated movie is totally perfect, and it's Pinocchio, which came out in 1940. Pinocchio tells the story of a woodworker and toy maker named Geppetto, who wishes on a star for his puppet Pinocchio to be a real boy, only for the Blue Fairy to take notice and partially grant that wish. The movie has been remade over the years, but the original still reigns supreme. As Pinocchio makes his way through the world with Jiminy Cricket as his assigned conscience, he stumbles quite a bit, especially considering the Blue Fairy has tasked him with being honest and good so that he can be fully transformed into a real boy. Con man Honest John doesn't help matters after he swindles Pinocchio, and when the living doll lies about his interactions with Honest John, his nose grows to reveal his dishonesty. Ultimately, Pinocchio does prevail and becomes a real boy, and all along the way, the music in this Disney movie is irresistible.
I'm a real boy!
You're alive. And you are a real boy.